Listen to this.
Hello everyone. Today is Thailand's Teachers' Day, January 16th, 2025. I am recording a teaching for all of us to reflect on the essence of life. The language used must be somewhat universal, yet it will still point directly to the truth of nature, pure and unconditioned. This recording is not bound by any religion, doctrine, or belief system. It simply conveys truth as it is, so that it may be of benefit to all. Truth is often difficult for us to accept. It is something entirely natural, yet we resist it. Regardless of who we are, we struggle with it. The first fundamental truth is this: this body does not belong to anyone. It is merely a vessel in which the mind temporarily resides. When this body dissolves, the mind moves on to another, and when that body also dissolves, the cycle continues. This is the way it is. This truth reveals that the body is not us. Yet this simple point is something that human beings find nearly impossible to accept. No one teaches this. The world teaches us that land, possessions, and things belong to us, but it never questions whether the body itself is truly ours. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to believe that this body is our own. We accept it without question. Once we see the body as ours, we become entangled in an endless struggle to sustain it. The body is constantly disturbed by hunger, always needing to be fed. No sooner has one meal passed than hunger returns. This hunger brings discomfort, leading to suffering and emotional reactions. The body is the source of these sensations: pain, exhaustion, pressure, and distress. And because we grasp onto this body as our own, we also cling to external things as belonging to us. This attachment leads to conflict, struggle, and destruction as we fight over what we believe to be ours. Take, for example, a car. When we first acquire it, we think it brings happiness. But as soon as we own it, we also inherit new burdens: fuel costs, repairs, maintenance, cleaning. Our mind becomes preoccupied with it, from the moment we wake up until we sleep. Before we had it, there was no suffering related to it. But once we claim ownership, the cycle of attachment and distress begins. This is how suffering arises, not from things themselves, but from the illusion of ownership and identification. From the moment we have this body, we become entangled with it. This is the key point. This is the truth. The question is, can we accept it? If a car does not belong to us, we are indifferent to its condition. Whether it ages, sits unused, or deteriorates, we feel no distress because it is not ours. But once we claim ownership, the moment rust begins to creep in, we start to worry. When the paint fades, when dirt accumulates, when scratches appear, suffering arises. Even when the car is simply parked, we are troubled. If we don't drive it, it might break down. If we drive it, we must refuel it. We become burdened by it. But if the car is not ours, none of this affects us. This shows that suffering arises because we cling to things as ours. Now, can we accept this truth? Can we recognize that this body is not ours in the same way? Let's examine our own existence. How did we come to be in this body? We don't know. Suddenly, we just found ourselves inhabiting it. This is not a matter of deep analysis. It is simply the truth. One moment, we were here, possessing a body. And once we had it, suffering began. Hunger arose, and if we did not eat, we suffered, so much that we would cry out. When we soiled ourselves, we could not clean up. We did not even understand how waste left our body. It was messy, smelly, and uncomfortable. We suffered, but we were fortunate that someone cared for us, because at that stage, we could not care for ourselves. This alone shows that we were merely inhabiting this body for the first time, unable to control it. As the years passed, our suffering only deepened. We had to learn, memorize, think, and work just to sustain this body. We had to bathe, maintain hygiene, eat, and perform daily functions. We had to study, to struggle, to labor. Conflicts arose because of this body. If someone hurt it, we sought revenge. When hunger became unbearable and there was no food, we resorted to stealing. As children, we would take food instinctively, not knowing right from wrong. Our priority was simply to satisfy the body's needs. From the moment we possess a body, we become entangled in its care, caught in an endless cycle of maintenance, struggle, and attachment. But if this body is not us, if it does not truly belong to us, then everything changes. If this body is not ours, then its hunger, its pain, its aging, and even its death are simply events that belong to the body, not to us. We would no longer suffer over what happens to it. Whether the body ages gracefully or deteriorates, whether it is bathed or left unwashed, it would all be a matter of the body alone, not something that concerns us. It would be like seeing a stranger whose life has no connection to ours. If we see someone unkempt, covered in dust, sleeping on the ground, eating whatever they can find, we do not feel distressed, because it is not our body. If we could see our own body in the same way, not as ours, our feelings toward it would be no different. Yet, this body remains a temporary vessel in which the mind resides. So, we take care of it, but without suffering over it. If it falls ill, we let it rest, take medicine if needed, and if there is no money for a doctor, we simply adapt, take a pain reliever, rest more, drink water, instead of worrying about elaborate meals. This is living without suffering over the body. Before, we were entangled in endless concerns, finding the best skincare products, using high-quality soap, the finest shampoo, the softest towels, the most comfortable clothes. We worked tirelessly to ensure our body was always pampered, always provided for. But if we recognize that this body is not ours, that burden starts to fade. Any toothpaste that serves its purpose is enough. Any soap that cleans is sufficient. Clothes are merely for covering the body, nothing more. This shift in perspective changes everything. We no longer obsess over the body. And when we are not preoccupied with the body, when we understand that it is not ours, a sense of lightness arises, clarity, freedom. This kind of wisdom is rarely taught, but if we were reminded of it daily, if we truly understood it, life would become much simpler. The body is just the body. Maintain it for health, avoid unnecessary suffering, and let it be. Live, work, and exist with ease, without the restless pursuit of luxury, beauty, or status. As long as the body can function, that is enough. Because in the end, this body will still age, it will still weaken, and it will still perish. This is the truth of the body. If this body is not truly us, then where is our true self? As we trace this question inward, we begin to realize that we are, in fact, the mind itself. So, what is the nature of this mind? If the body is not ours, then there must be something that is, something that resides within this form, something that is the essence of life itself. As we shift our perspective inward and see things as they truly are, it becomes simple. We step back and observe. If something is not ours, we no longer become entangled with it. Why do people argue, fight, and even kill? Because they believe that land belongs to them. They claim, "This is my land, my country," and so they destroy one another to possess it. But if we understand that the land does not truly belong to anyone, what is there to fight over? If people realize that the earth belongs to the world itself, that the water, the resources, everything belongs to the world, then there would be no reason for conflict. Boundaries have already been drawn, defining nations and territories. Let them be. We can live together, support one another, and share what we have. There is no need to take more than what is necessary. If we have an abundance of food, we can share it with those who have less. If we have wealth, we can offer some to those in need. After all, what is the purpose of endless accumulation? In the end, we still eat just one meal at a time. If excess food is wasted while others go hungry, then why not share? Eat only what is needed, take only what is sufficient, and if there is more, pass it on to others. This way of life is one of simplicity and generosity, living in balance, free from greed, anger, and hatred. By understanding that nothing truly belongs to us, we naturally let go of attachment. The land, the resources, all material things, these can be shared. If everyone saw life this way, we could live in peace and harmony. But why is the world in turmoil? Because of competition, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of power and wealth. People steal, deceive, and harm one another in their desire to possess. You have more than I do, so I will take it from you. Or, you are hoarding too much, so I will seize it for myself. This is the nature of attachment, believing in me and mine. And as long as this belief remains, the world will continue in this way. This is the offering of wisdom and perspective. If nothing truly belongs to us, it does not mean we do nothing. It means we no longer cause harm. Instead, we support one another, share knowledge, and no longer suffer over things that were never truly ours. If everyone could understand and accept this reality, then peace would naturally arise. This is simply the truth, so why not accept it? Take relationships, for example, husband, wife, or partner. If they are no longer with us and choose to be with someone else, it is just as it is. If we do not enjoy being with someone, we seek another person who aligns with us. Everyone follows their own preferences. So why do we suffer asking why our partner left us for another? Because they found someone they are drawn to. They do not feel the same way toward us. So how could we force them to stay? The truth is, it is we who create the attachment, believing they belong to us. Once we see this clearly, we realize it is simply the natural way of things. When two people find each other, they stay together. If they are not meant to be, they part ways. It is only our grasping that creates suffering. So why should we foolishly hold on to pain? We suffer because we cling to the idea that something or someone belongs to us. When this perspective shifts, wisdom also shifts. Letting go of attachment, we see that attachment itself has no form. It is not something we can hold in our hands. It is merely the mind projecting, generating thoughts, imagining ownership, holding on to mental images, emotions, and memories. We recall how they were with us, the things they said, the moments we shared, and we cling to those feelings, believing they are ours. But in truth, it is the mind that constructs this illusion, deceiving itself. Even when they are no longer with us, when they are now with their new family or loved ones, we continue to hold on to the past. Instead of being happy for them, we sit alone, asking, why did they leave me? But this is merely playing with thoughts, creating suffering from attachment. We generate images, pull back memories, replay words, sounds, emotions, and everything from the past, turning them into ours once again. Do you see? The mind itself is projecting, constructing, and pulling in emotions, shaping suffering out of its own fabrications. We are dreaming with our eyes open, and we cry out in pain. And what do? We begin to get angry. That anger then turns inward, and we harm ourselves. Who suffers? It is we who suffer. And where does this suffering come from? It arises from our own mind, from the stories we construct and use to deceive ourselves, to haunt ourselves, more terrifying than any ghost. No ghost is as cruel as the mind that creates its own torment. We fabricate thoughts, we get angry, we cry, and then we get angry again. We burn ourselves with the fire of our own making, like pouring gasoline on our hearts and striking a match. The fire ignites immediately because the fuel is already inside us. We create our own suffering. See the ignorance of the mind. Trace it back. It began with the realization that this body is not truly us, and then we came to see the mind itself. But it is this very mind that weaves thoughts, memories, emotions, and sensations, convincing itself of illusions. Yet nothing outside of us truly belongs to us. And because of this ignorance, we sit there, thinking, remembering, drowning in our own thoughts. We replay the past over and over. The images return. We ask ourselves, why did they leave me? Why did they break their promise? They said they would stay, yet they are gone. I loved them with all my heart, but they betrayed me. And so, we curse them. They are terrible, heartless, and unfaithful. Men blame women, women blame men. No different. We sink into thought, consumed by it. We cry, we grieve, we drown in emotions of our own creation. Yet in reality, we are simply sitting in our home, where nothing is actually happening. We could be resting in peace, without attachments, but we do not. Instead, we return to thinking, imagining, reconstructing the past. See how deeply it deceives us. In truth, it is not even the mind that deceives us. We are the ones deceiving ourselves. We suffer, we rage, we cry, and the crying becomes uncontrollable. We want to release, to scream, to let it all out. It is just like when we were born, when we entered this world for the first time. When we were newborns, we had no idea what was happening. Something touched us, and we disliked it. We felt air for the first time, and we cried. We felt sensations we had never known before, and we cried. We were uncomfortable, unsettled, overwhelmed, and so we screamed, loud and unrestrained. Our parents, hearing the sound of their newborn crying, rejoiced, saying, "My child has a strong voice." And now, as adults, we cry just the same. When faced with something we dislike, we resist, we reject, we weep. The difference is, as children, we did not know why we cried, but as adults, we construct elaborate stories, convincing ourselves that our suffering is real, solid, and justified. Yet, in the end, it is nothing but a creation of our own mind. We dislike suffering, and yet we create it ourselves. Who among us enjoys suffering? What mind desires pain? None. Isn't that true? If no mind truly wants suffering, then why do we create it? We know fire burns, so why do we light it and run into it? We know pouring gasoline on ourselves and setting it ablaze will cause unbearable pain, so why do we do it? Is it strange? Or is it because we crave a sense of satisfaction, a dramatic release? Do we want to push ourselves to the very edge, just to feel something? Do we want to suffer to the extreme, to see if we can finally let go? If we look at this deeply, what does it reveal about our own mind? Why does the mind create this voice, this endless thinking? Lying in bed alone, we think about them. We picture them. We recall their words. We relive the past. We replay their departure, their indifference. We summon images and voices that whisper, "See, they have someone else now. Look at this picture. Look at how they broke their promise. Look at how they no longer love you." It is as if something within us is projecting a film, directing a narrative, making us immerse ourselves in it. But who is the one creating this? It is we who fabricate this story, this torment. We are the ones constructing a reality that crushes us. So why do we do it? Why do we create suffering only to burn ourselves in it? Isn't this the height of foolishness? If it is not foolish, then what is it? Utter foolishness. Beyond foolishness. Look at the reality. We are simply at home, where nothing is happening. Everything is actually peaceful. But instead of resting in that peace, we resurrect suffering. If we can accept the truth that nothing truly belongs to us, then we will see how light and free life really is. Imagine if there were no physical body, just pure life, formless, vast, empty yet radiant, weightless, free, and expansive, merging seamlessly with the entire universe. Wouldn't that be magnificent? If there were no form, there would be no burden, no sound, no need for sound, no thoughts, no need for thoughts, no images, no emotions, no sensations, no memory, nothing to hold on to, only a pure, luminous existence, one with the universe. Purity. This is everything. It is the total absence of suffering. What could be greater than this? And this. This is the true nature of the mind, the pure essence of life itself. It has always been here, waiting to be realized. But before reaching this, the formless mind cannot recognize itself. It has no reference, no way to know what it is. So it must seek tools to understand all things, including itself. And thus, we take on a body. With a body comes thought, imagination, emotion, memory, perception, everything we use to experience and learn. We have houses, cars, clothes, all the things we need. Over time, we begin to identify with them. I am this body. I am these possessions. I am these experiences. And we become entangled in suffering. But then comes the turning point, the search for a way out, the return to that original purity. We begin to see that nothing is truly us. This is knowledge, not something taught, but something realized. Who in this world teaches this? Tell me. Who teaches that there is no self, that nothing belongs to us? The world teaches the opposite, that everything is ours. We accumulate knowledge, agriculture, technology, engineering, even space travel. We master every field, earn degrees upon degrees, become the most knowledgeable person on earth. But all of this knowledge is rooted in identity, in me and mine. It relies on thought, memory, and emotion, on the very tools that create attachment. Even the body itself is a tool. But what happens when we go beyond tools? When we step beyond the need for thought, beyond the need for memory, beyond even the need for identity? That is when the realization dawns, that there was never anything to hold on to in the first place. In the process of learning and remembering, we accumulate knowledge. When we cannot retain everything in our minds, we store it in books, videos, photos. We preserve it all so that we can recall it later. But in the end, we suffer because of these things. When they are destroyed, if, for example, a fire burns down our home, we experience immense suffering because all the knowledge we held on to is lost. Is there suffering in that? Yes, there is. And if something happens to this body, we suffer over it as well. This is the nature of external knowledge. Anything we claim ownership over will inevitably bring suffering. We learn through these experiences of loss, but we do not know how to be free from suffering. This is the real question. How do we free ourselves from suffering? No one teaches this. Instead, we are taught to seek distractions, to travel, to explore new places, to learn new things. Haven't you learnt enough, they ask. then go learn something new. Go see the world. Go dive into the ocean. Go study the universe. Keep learning. Keep discovering. Let go of the old knowledge that made you suffer and replace it with something new. But what happens? The new knowledge eventually leads to suffering as well. And so, we are told to seek yet another new experience to escape from suffering again. It becomes an endless cycle. Is there any knowledge that truly leads to freedom from suffering? Who teaches that nothing is truly ours? That this body is certainly not ours, because it will soon perish. And when the body dies, the mind, or the essence of life, immediately seeks another body. It continues this search endlessly. When one form decays, it finds another. This means that the mind, or the life force, still lacks a certain type of knowledge, one that could bring an end to this cycle. No amount of worldly knowledge can stop the mind from taking birth again. It simply moves toward a new form, a new story, a new identity, becoming immersed in it, believing in it, suffering through it, and repeating the cycle endlessly. So what knowledge can bring this cycle to an end? The awakened sages, those who have realized the truth, point to a simple yet profound understanding. There is nothing that is truly us. This is not a belief, but a truth that becomes clear upon deep reflection. Let us experiment with this knowledge, step back, observe, and see whether anything is truly us. Not as a mere concept, but as a reality that reveals itself. If we truly see this, if we genuinely accept it, then the cycle of attachment and suffering begins to unravel. When we understand that this body must inevitably age, fall ill, and eventually die, there is no need to suffer over it, for it is not truly ours. The moment we grasp this, we no longer cling to it. We let the body be as it is, and turn inward to realize that it is not our true self. This understanding is rarely taught, and few dare to learn it, because it dissolves the very notion of self. But when the mind, or the formless, pure essence of life, sees the truth, it recognizes that everything it has relied upon for so long, such as the body, thoughts, mental images, emotions, and perceptions, are merely instruments. These instruments arise, change, and bring suffering when clung to. When the mind truly sees that everything it depends on is not itself, it no longer identifies with them. It realizes that these things have no true owner, no inherent self. And when there is no attachment, suffering ceases. It is like recognizing that a car is not us. Whether it deteriorates, burns, or breaks down, there is no suffering, for it was never truly ours to begin with. The same applies to sounds. If a sound is not ours, then however it manifests, whether in praise or insult, it is just sound arising and fading away. A sound is like the wind. It comes and goes, without belonging to anyone. The same is true for mental images, emotions, and even memories. They are not ours. They arise and function on their own, independent of a self. Doubt, understanding, remembering, or forgetting all happen naturally. There is no self behind them. And if nothing is truly us, then everything is free. When the mind realizes this deeply, it understands that all external and internal phenomena are not the self. What remains? Only lightness, spaciousness, pure, empty, luminous awareness. Even this pure, empty, and luminous essence of life is not us. It belongs to no one. There is only the pure essence of life. We are that pure essence, beyond all definitions, beyond all identities. This is true knowledge. When the mind realizes itself as this pure essence, it no longer seeks a body to be born into again. Why would it? To take on a body is to invite suffering, for the body is not the self. Once it is left behind, it is left behind completely. The body is not us. Sounds, mental images, emotions, perceptions, and all knowledge, none of them have a self. None of them are us. When the mind fully sees this truth, this realization becomes deeply embedded in its very fabric. It is an understanding that penetrates to the core of awareness. The mind awakens to the knowing that it is pure, luminous, and free. It is no longer anything else, nor does it depend on anything else. It has stopped. If the world embraced this understanding, wouldn't it be filled with lightness, spaciousness, and freedom from suffering? This is the knowledge the mind truly longs for. And so, it must be shared, declared, so that all may listen. Can we be courageous enough to accept this truth, that there is no self? When nothing remains as us, what is left is a single reality, pure, clear, and boundless. It has always been here, waiting to be discovered. And when it is, awakening happens, radiant and free. Coming back to the earlier situation, lying comfortably at home, being alone in peace, yet not liking it, listening to these words, understanding them without doubt, already at ease, yet still not truly listening. Instead, going back to lie down and think, but not even realizing that thinking is happening. Why? Because there is a deep belief in being human. Why do we believe we are human? Because no one has ever pointed it out, taught us, or given us the knowledge to see otherwise. Isn't that right? So we keep thinking, following our habits and instincts, lying down, and thoughts arise, thoughts of them. Why did they change after making a promise? Did those words mean nothing? After all we've shared together, do they not care at all? Don't they know how much I love them? A voice in the mind starts speaking, stirring thoughts into words, weaving stories. Then images appear, clear, vivid, rushing in fast. Snap, 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 showing moments from the past. See? They left you. See? They never really loved you. How could they do this to you? You gave them everything. You loved them completely. And yet, they don't love you anymore. The voice keeps repeating, reinforcing the pain, deceiving itself, creating stories to haunt itself. It keeps replaying, digging deeper, pressing the wound. Almost as if we want to suffer, completely. But is it really us who want to suffer? Or is it just this voice, these images, these thoughts, arising and fading on their own, tricking the mind into believing they are real? We are not born wanting anything. Do you know that? The very thing we seek by taking on a body, by relying on thoughts, emotions, perceptions, and all these instruments of experience, is actually one simple, foolish goal: to suffer as much as possible. We refuse to let go of anything until we have suffered from it to the very end. Only then do we finally dare to release it. Have you ever been like this? I have. And I came to understand, why are we born? Are we born to suffer? It turns out we seek suffering ourselves. No one forces suffering upon us. We desire it. We want to push ourselves to the extreme, to suffer to the fullest, only so we can finally let go. But we don't know how to let go, so we only have one method. We must suffer completely from something before we are willing to release it. This is something I have felt since childhood, though back then I didn't fully understand it. I just had this deep sense that we are born to suffer. Have you noticed that when we want to experience something, we often want it just so we can suffer from it? Suppose, for example, we want to own a car. We don't really have the money, but we still want one. And we already know that if we get the car, we'll end up broke and suffering. But we still want to suffer. We want to see just how far we can push it. So we do everything we can, sell whatever we can, use up all our earnings, just to buy that car. No money left for anything else. Doesn't matter. We'll deal with it later. Then when we finally get the car, it's not what we expected. More problems arise, expenses we didn't foresee. And this isn't just ordinary suffering. It's the kind that brings humiliation. Now we have to take loans, ask our parents for help, sell things, borrow money just to make ends meet. Soon we're drowning, barely making it from one month to the next. Do we learn our lesson? We might think we do, but we don't, because we haven't suffered enough. As long as we're still alive, we keep struggling. We cover one debt with another, constantly juggling, constantly trying to keep up. And for what? To suffer. Even eating becomes a struggle. We try to save money, eat less, cut corners. We can't afford good food. We work from early morning until late at night, taking every overtime shift until 10 or 11 p.m. We wake before dawn, work all day, and come home to eat instant noodles with canned fish, because that's all we can afford. No fresh fruit, no good meals. And still, we don't even have enough for gas. So the car we worked so hard to buy just sits there, unused. Are we suffering? Yes. But is it enough? No, not yet. It hasn't reached its peak. Have you ever felt this way? Humans seek suffering. If we don't suffer, it doesn't feel complete. It's never enough. We don't let go of things until we've suffered to the extreme. Take relationships, for example. We take the risk. We give everything, knowing full well that it's dangerous. We pour our heart out, invest everything we have. Then, in the end, they leave. Does it hurt? Of course. Do we cry? Of course. What do we do next? No money, no direction. So we go out at night. We party, we drink, we get wasted, throw up. Can we even work the next day? Number. We get reported, warned, scolded, hit from all sides. Does it hurt even more? Yes, deeply. Now we have to crawl back to our parents, relatives, asking for money again, but they don't have any because we've already borrowed without ever paying back. The suffering reaches its peak. We lie in bed, crying, questioning. Why did they leave me? What did I do wrong? I gave up everything for them. Lying there, crying, cursing ourselves. Why? To suffer completely. And then, at the absolute breaking point, we fall asleep. Completely exhausted, tears dried up, our body pushed to the limit. And when we wake up, something shifts. Have you noticed? After deep sleep, it's as if everything resets. The moment we open our eyes, something inside makes a decision. Let go. Leave it. This realization only comes when suffering reaches its peak. Let go. Quit. Walk away. Sell the car. Clear the debt. Sell the house. Abandon everything. Leave. Some people even go to a monastery. If they truly let go, they strip life down to the simplest form, living with nothing, staying wherever they can, just to be free from debt, free from the weight, living day by day, working, rebuilding slowly, and eventually they start over. This is the first kind of letting go, the crude kind. Have you ever been like this? I personally haven't gone through this extreme, but I've always observed. Why do we suffer? Because we choose to suffer. Why do we choose suffering? Because we already know it's going to hurt, but we still walk into it. Why? Because we want to reach the breaking point, so we never have to go back. Then what happens? We move on to something new. But why? To suffer again, even with something as simple as gambling, buying lottery tickets. We know we won't win, but do we try? Yes. Do we spend recklessly? Yes. Someone earns 40,000 a month, but spends 20,000 on lottery tickets. Why? To see if they'll win. If they lose, do they stop? Number going out at night, spending tens of thousands in a single night. Money disappears in an instant. Do they do it anyway? Yes. Why? because they want to see what it's like to have no money. Salary of 40,000, gone. Salary of 50,000, gone. Even if they earn 100,000, still gone. Then they start borrowing, maxing out credit cards, taking loans, digging a deeper hole. For what? To suffer more. And when they finally suffer to the absolute extreme, what happens? They quit. But if they haven't reached the limit yet, they keep going, seeking more suffering. Some keep going until they reach the point where they feel completely trapped. Some, unable to see a way out, take their own lives. They want to see what the ultimate suffering feels like. Some people just want life to end. Instead of truly letting go, cutting ties, never returning, choosing to live in peace, some can't think that far. Instead, they think, if you don't love me, then I'll die. But what does their death have to do with the other person? This is the state of suffering at its peak, where there seems to be no way out. However, whenever we sleep and then suddenly experience a moment of insight, a sudden aha moment, that is the first spark of true realization. In that instant, something cuts off. Most of the time, it cuts away completely, causing us to let go, and we no longer return to that suffering. The mind shifts to a new way of being, taking on a different perspective, though still within the realm of sentient existence. It is not yet a complete liberation, but if one reaches completion, they will deeply contemplate. What path leads to the end of suffering? Why do we create stories that cause us pain? All suffering arises from our own thoughts. We think, we visualize, and emotions arise. We become entangled in those emotions, dwelling on the same thoughts repeatedly, sinking into them alone, and thus suffering alone. Why were we born only to suffer? Why do we foolishly cling to suffering? Suffering itself has no true substance, yet we create it so intensely that it feels real. This reveals that the mind in its ignorance is deeply deceived. Therefore, we must cultivate understanding and wisdom so that we may come to see clearly. Shall we try a different way? If we recognize that this body is not truly us, then we will see that the body inevitably ages, falls ill, and dies. It does not belong to us in any permanent sense. We cannot command it to remain young, to be free from sickness, or to avoid diseases like cancer, high blood pressure, or diabetes. It is susceptible to countless conditions, and in the end, it will perish. If this body is not truly us, then look further. What about emotions? If emotions have no real self, if they are not us, then they truly have no inherent existence. Emotions cannot be grasped, and no one owns them. Yet we cling to them. Why do we immerse ourselves in emotions? Joyful emotions arise, let them be. Suffering emotions arise, let them be. Our role is simply to observe and understand that emotions are just part of nature. When thoughts arise in alignment with what we desire, they bring emotions of happiness and satisfaction. When things do not go as we expect, dissatisfaction and suffering emerge. Emotions are merely natural occurrences that follow the flow of thought, but we become lost in them. If we truly see emotions as transient, appearing and dissolving on their own, then even our thoughts and perceptions follow the same nature. They arise and fade away by their own process, independent of any self. They function on their own. They are not us. Find a way to perceive this truth, not as a belief, but as direct understanding. If this body is not us, and these emotions are not us, then seeing things as they truly are leads to the realization that they have never belonged to us. Thoughts think by themselves. So why do we cling to them? Why does sound hold such power over us, making us suffer? Why do mental images have such a strong grip, pulling us into suffering? Some people cling to their realizations believing, I know, I see, I understand. I have reached the highest truth. I am divine. I am this. I am that. I am equal to all things. I am as great as the Buddha. No Buddha is greater than me. No deity is greater than me. Nothing surpasses me. I am the Supreme Being. I am a Super Saiyan. We become everything. But why do we allow ourselves to believe in all these identities? Why do we get lost in them? Why do we drown in emotions? Why do we even cling to tranquility? Why do we attach ourselves to sound, mental images, feelings, perceptions, memories, and all experiences? It is because we believe all of these things have a self, but when we examine them closely, we find that they have no true essence. They have no form, no substance. They are merely passing phenomena, arising and ceasing by their own nature. They manifest and dissolve, nothing more. This is the direct knowing of reality as it truly is. If we simply see reality in this way, everything begins to loosen. The mind itself relaxes, it becomes light, open, and free. The deeper our understanding, the more precise and profound our insight, the clearer it becomes that none of this is truly us. If this sound is not us, then where is the self? If this mental image is not us, then where is the self? If all these emotions are not us, then where is the self? If even the knowing itself arises on its own, then where is the self? If we truly recognize that none of these are us, a great weight lifts. Everything becomes clear, open, and free. At that moment, something bursts forth, completely breaking through. Tears may stream down, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming clarity, the purity of it all. There is nothing left to hold on to. Nothing is anything at all. There is only boundless openness, clear, pure, and inseparable from the vastness of the universe itself. Could it be that there was never anything that was us to begin with? A deep realization arises, filling the heart completely, and with that, the question arises, why did we ever get lost in anything at all? This is the essence of contemplation, the realization that nothing is us. Little by little, we withdraw from the illusion, stepping back until at last there is complete fulfillment, complete liberation. The mind is free, forever beyond suffering. With no self left to grasp, there is no more conflict or struggle. One lives in the world in peace and harmony. And when we look back at the moments of intense suffering, when we thought, they left me, how could they abandon me? The very suffering that once consumed us now appears absurd. We laugh at our own foolishness. How could I have been so blind? How did I suffer so deeply over something that was never mine to begin with? We see with complete clarity the ignorance that once entangled us, how we became lost in passing events, drowning in stories that had already come and gone. This understanding must be shared with the world. It must be spoken, revealed, so that others may see. Because all of us have walked this path. We have all suffered, lost in the illusions we ourselves have created, lost in thoughts, emotions, memories, perceptions. All of it, simply fabricated by the mind, built upon the instruments of this impermanent body. Nothing in all of this is truly us. And yet, this is exactly why we suffer, just because of this simple misunderstanding. Once we truly see this, a deep realization arises. The knowledge that nothing is us is something no one in this world teaches. If everyone in the world were to study this wisdom, learning that nothing is truly me or mine, by directly observing reality, by awakening within, by attentively witnessing the truth inside, they would see for themselves. Emotions arise and function on their own. Laughter happens by itself. Irritation arises by itself. Foolishness, joy, sorrow, all of it occurs by itself. Words are spoken, thoughts emerge, memory recalls or forgets. All of it simply unfolds. With this kind of awareness, with this deep understanding, one can truly break free. When the mind genuinely accepts that none of it is me or mine, it lets go. And then one directly perceives purity itself. Tears fall effortlessly. Doubt vanishes completely. A deep lightness arises, free, open, unburdened. A profound contentment lingers for days. This knowledge is something that has never been written into textbooks. It has never been incorporated into any school system. But if it were to be taught in every classroom, every child would come to realize their own innately pure essence. They would no longer suffer over anything. This is something that must be shared with the world. This wisdom teaches the truth, that nothing is us or ours. It is not the kind of knowledge that leads one to say, I understand this, I know that, I am wise, I am capable. It does not feed the illusion of me and mine. The world is filled with knowledge, knowledge that can bring wealth, status, and recognition. The more one accumulates, the more they are praised, honored, and uplifted. I am successful, I am accomplished, I am admired. Wealth and power follow, and so does attachment. The stronger the sense of self, the deeper the suffering. But this knowledge, this wisdom, is different. It reveals that there is no self, no mine. And because of this, suffering dissolves completely. True liberation arises for those who awaken to the realization that nothing is me or mine. Let us bring this to a close here. May each and every one of us swiftly awaken to this truth, immediately, without delay. May all beings realize it at this very moment. If you're interested in these teachings on awakening, mind observation, and transcending suffering through wisdom, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your insights in the comments, provide productive feedback, and if you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.